What's up? This your boy Humble Dad back with another edition of Humble Dad Podcast. This is gonna be a dope interview. I've been trying to get at this guy for a minute. Uh, I've admired him from afar just because of how he delivers his message on marriage as well as fatherhood and what a big deal it is. And some of the things you may have seen him on, or King Talk, as well as Let's Talk on the Lapeef Network. None other than my guy. That's what he always says. So I'm gonna steal that slang right there. My guy, Anton Daniels.
What's going on, my friend?
I'm good, boss. How are you, man?
Man, I'm feeling absolutely phenomenal as usual. Another day, another opportunity to do great things. That's what I do, big dog.
That's what's up, man. Do you drink a lot of water or something? Like, what gives you this energy that you be having?
Honestly, I'm just high off life. Like genuinely. Like I'm really, really focused on winning on the highest level. And I think that I just got like a competitive spirit within me. And everything that I've ever done, I've always been super competitive. And so no matter what I get into, I gotta win at the highest level. At the very least, give everything that I got in order to be successful. So whether it's corporate America, whether it's content creation, whether it's business, no matter what it is, I'm always gonna grind and I'm a hustle. So I'm just really, really high off life. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in excuses. I only want the results. So I don't honestly like I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't take no pills, I don't do drugs, I don't do none of that. Um and so for me it's just it's I'm just excited at the opportunity to conquer and to do other things. So yeah, I'm just high off life, my friend.
That's what's up, man. I think that's important because many people do take things in order to enhance whatever it is that the lifestyle that they want. So that's why I ask, because every time I see you, you have this crazy type of energy, whether it's on screen or in person. So I was just
You know what? I'm genuinely excited every time that I do something or I jump on camera. Like I'll throw my voice out. I don't care. Like I look at it like it's a concert. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to give people, if people are kind enough to give me their attention, then I'm gonna have to give them everything that I can in order to ensure that they get what they need out of that conversation. So I'm lit 100% of the time, all the time. Like even my voice right now, like this my voice right now is not coming from anything content creation related, but it's coming from just being out and about last night and having a good time and being, you know what I'm saying, blowing the bag and messing up some money. So
for sure.
that's crazy.
That's what's up. So we're gonna get off into it. So the first question that I always ask is, what do you think the difference between a father and a dad is?
Um, if I had to guess, I would have to say that a dad is somebody that probably spends more time nurturing, participating, has more of a vested interest in the success of the people that they're over. You know what I'm saying? And I think that a father, to a larger extent, some people conflate the two. Um, but I would say that it's probably more of a sperm donor, I guess. You know what I'm saying? More of a
Yeah.
person that just can have kids. But I think that, when somebody calls you a dad, um, it means a little bit more. So it might be nuanced, but I think that that's probably more of an accurate answer of what it is that I believe in that sense.
That's what's up. Okay, so now I want to take you back to like middle school or elementary, whichever one.
Hmm.
I want you to talk to me about who was your father figure, or your role your yeah, who was your father figure during that particular time, and what is something that you remember uh, that he told you?
My dad, because I come from a family that's never been like we don't believe in divorce.
Hmm.
So all of my uncles, 9 uncles and all of that type of stuff. I've never seen what divorce looks like. So my dad was in my life all the way up until he passed in 2017.
Hmm.
I mean, it was literally like just a freak accident, but my dad was literally my best friend. Like he was the person that I spent the majority of my time around. And I did, and I've had a lot of mentors and different people that I've gleaned from just from, always trying to make sure that I'm leveling up and I'm gleaning from all of the information that I can from as many people as possible. But my father played a huge role. Like even in middle school, right? He took me out of regular public school and he sent me to private school just so I can make sure that I got a completely different experience than most other people would normally get and seeing other things, so that it colored, my horizons, or it made me a lot more aware of what the world was doing, instead of only being subjected to what was going on in my city or my neighborhood or my family or the people that was around me. And he pushed me, his expectation for me, and he let me fail, and it was in a controlled environment. And I think that was one of the more important lessons that I got out of it, is that you can't baby your kids, right? So I believe in my heart that one of the biggest disservices that you can do to your children is to give them everything. Is to work so that you can leave them all of your stuff, because then they have I like to call it a entitlement spirit towards whatever it is that they got going on, and they didn't actually earn it, so they don't get the lessons that go along with it. But when you let people fail in a controlled environment, often you get a better result. And so he let me fail. Like he didn't buy me a car. He could have,
Mm.
but he told me, "Yo, I will give you the tools that you need in order to go get the job to go buy the car." He said, "I'm gonna give you everything that you need in order to be successful, and that's it. And then my expectation is for you to be much greater version of me." And before he passed away, he actually told me that I was his greatest achievement and his greatest accomplishment. So that was more of a
Wow.
compliment to himself, in my opinion, because it was a reflection of the lessons that he taught me, which is the difference between a dad and a father.
That's good. So he says this right before he passes. So, but when you was like, what type of cat were you in middle school and high school?
I was wild.
But your
I was
dad
wild.
was like
I was
letting you.
wild, but I had a lot of work ethic. Like I had a crazy work ethic. I always wanted to be successful. I always was competitive. I played ball. I played basketball in middle school and high school. And so I was super competitive, but I was wild because I was girl crazy. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
I still, the thing that people don't understand is no matter what your kid is going through or no matter what happens when they're younger, it's the foundation and the things that's in them that keeps them, that they always come back to when they start to
yeah,
grow out of whatever phase that they're going through. So that was one of the reasons why he sent me to that private school. He sent me to an all boy private school, which taught me everything. Right? They taught me how to tie a tie. We had to wear dress shirts. We had to wear slacks when we went to school, which gave me a form of discipline, and it calmed me down because I was so girl crazy so early in life. But then, as I got older, I started to lean more on the foundation and the principles that he taught me very early in life, which that's in hindsight, right? You don't know it when it's happening
right.
in real time. But a lot of people are so busy trying to be their kids' friends instead of being a father. And it may have to take, you doing some things that put them in an uncomfortable situation just to learn a lesson, because it's not about being a friend. It's about giving them the tools that they need to succeed. So for me, I was crazy. I was pretty wild. I did some really, really wild stuff in my life. But the foundation is the thing that I wind up coming back to, on my principles and my spirituality. That's another thing that he gave me, is he gave me church. Like I was raised in a church.
Okay.
I went to church on Wednesdays and Sundays, and then we would meet up for 8 o'clock at prayer and all of this other type of stuff. And like I was raised in the church.
Okay.
And so I had a strong foundation of men around me that showed me exactly what it took in order to be a great family man. That when you got married, that was a lifetime commitment, and men don't break their vows, they actually stick with it. And so it was a different type of upbringing for me, in that I was raised in more of I wouldn't say strict environment, but I was giving a lot more structure
Structure.
that allowed for me to be able to grow.
Yeah. That's I noticed it from my own perspective as far as like I didn't grow up with my dad. And so
Oh,
when I communicate with individuals that do, I can see the difference. There's it's really a time gap when the dad is not there.
yeah,
Meaning like I definitely would have been further ahead than I am now if I had a dad that had structure and was married to my mom, because I would have seen the elements of what it looks like to be married as well as to be a dad, and
yeah,
want that, not just want it, but actually be able to kind of succeed at it. Similar to
yeah.
what you're saying, the environment matters,
Yep, I
right?
agree.
The environment matters. So when you are in this environment, you said, do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I got three brothers, no sisters.
What?
Yep. So I got two older brothers, and they 6 and 7 years older than me, and I'm like the middle child. And then I got a younger brother that's 6 years younger than me. Yep. So
Wow.
all boys.
Wow. So in that, okay, so he got to actually impact the world in a
And
major way.
then, like, it's so many people that he raised in the neighborhood. I mean, man, it was not uncommon because we had a half court. My father, he was heavy into construction, and they built a half court, like a real legal size half court, and they even put lights up for when it got dark outside for us to be able to continue to play and do all of that, right? And so they poured a half court, and that was everything. Like, it was more popular than a local recreation center, and so everybody came and hooped with us. But then it was so many different kids and so many different young dudes that would just live with us. Like, they would just stay over, and then, oh, they'd be like, yo, can I sleep here, can I spend the night? And then they would wind up just staying there for an extended period of time. So it was not uncommon for us to be all cramped up, or people spending the night and all of this other type of stuff. And then we wind up like unofficially adopting some people and all of this other type of stuff. So I was always around different dudes and different guys, and it was largely because my father was kind of that dude um, that everybody looked for, as far as making sure that everybody was taken care of in that way. It's pretty insane when I look back at it, because that house
Yeah.
wasn't that big at all.
What did that teach you, or what do you feel like you learned from that particular experience of your dad, kind of being the neighborhood dad, so to speak?
Um, it's a curse.
Really?
It's
Okay.
a curse
I wasn't looking at okay.
because it took so much from him. Um, but I don't think that people appreciate you until you gone.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, while he was here, it was like that was just the expectation because that's what who he was.
Okay.
And it's almost like it's a gift and a curse, because the gift is that you get to impact people, so you got to operate without selfishness. But the cursed aspect of it was, it takes so much from you, and then you're not appreciated until after you're gone. And so, I think that the biggest thing about that taught me was that the burden of leadership is often at times something that comes from being a lot more internal, and you being satisfied with the legacy that comes along with the fact that other people are improved. But if you're looking to get something out of it, as far as accolades or awards or acknowledgement or anything like that, you barking up the wrong tree. You going down the wrong path, because there is no reward outside of seeing other people successful, which largely impacts why I do what I do today. But I'm unwilling to give myself to the extent. I think I give myself a lot more, but I'm unwilling to not have the rewards to go along with it.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking about when you was telling me the story about your dad having all these people around.
Yeah.
It came and kind of put it into perspective of what it is I see you doing, which is like when you enter into the room. I'll take for example Houston. I
Hmm.
remember like when situation was going on, right? You came to the front of the class basically and you said, listen up, hey, we're gonna take this opportunity and we're gonna make it something different as
Yeah.
we wait, right? And so you basically made it into a networking event,
Yeah.
right?
Because I'm a man of the people. Like, a lot of people don't know, and you got to meet me in real life, and this is why I travel to meet people almost every week. Um, like, who I am online is probably a small, like, is less. When people get online, they get turned up. When I get online, I actually turn down as much as people think that I'm turned up. Right.
Okay.
So who I am in real life is actually even more of who I am in real life, online. And so, like, when people experience me and talking to me, and I make sure I go up to every single person, and I need to know who you are, and I'm very, very interested in how you got here and what happened, and how you found this platform, or
Mhm.
how you know me and stuff like that. I'm very, very much connected with the people because I am a man of the people, and so that's where my superpower come from, even from a financial perspective, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
doing really, really well in life. My It's almost like you get to a third phase that most people don't get to, right?
Okay.
And so the first phase is you got to work for money. The second phase is you buy your time back because you make enough money to where you don't have to trade in as much of your time for money, because you understand what money does, and you get out of that space. The third phase that most people don't understand is that once you buy your time back, because you start looking at your time as money, it turns into a people, your people and your network. And that's where your network becomes your net worth. And most people don't understand that. But the reality is that the people that you surround yourself by and the people that you pour into, which is one of the reasons why I spend so much time pouring into people, is ultimately my currency. That's my legacy, right? Everything that they do then becomes a reflection of who I am. And so I spend more time pouring into people and I don't look to get anything back, understanding that the relationship that I build with people is largely going to be the currency that we put out into the world. And so that's the third step and the third level that very rarely most people don't get to. They don't get to the people part. And that's largely, to be honest with you, a fatherly role, because then you then become responsible for the well-being of other people, which bothers me when I see people say, um, I'm only responsible for myself, because the inherent nature of a man is to take control of and be responsible for the way that you impact other people. And so I'm always looking to pour into people. I'm always looking to add value. I'm always looking to find out, how it is that I can help people, how it is that I can, help you to become a better version of yourself. And then I'm rewarded as a result of it.
That, we thinking on the same vein. When you was talking, that's exactly what I was thinking, because you're saying you're doing all of these things for, not for you, you're doing it to give value to others, and you're not seeking any particular reward. However, it's going to happen because you're bringing value to people.
Yeah.
So, right. And so as a father or a dad, or however you want to, whatever vocabulary you want to use, if you're pouring into your kids and other kids, like, you're going to reap that reward, because they're going to impact the world, or
Yeah. Well,
especially the environment.
you don't get it a lot of times, like in real time, real value, right?
Right.
A lot of times it don't come in the form of money. It don't come in the form of, accolades or whatever. If they make it to the NBA, they may say, I want to thank my dad. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, it has to be something much bigger than you in order for you to consistently pour into somebody, and push
Yeah.
them to be successful. I mean, even when it comes to content creation, right? A lot of people don't realize it, but a lot of the things that we created allowed for a lot of other people to get visibility, and then for them to be able to get put on. And I mean, would you really even have known, if we just keep it at 100, about Courtney Michelle, if we hadn't put Courtney Michelle on? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Would you would have known about a lot of these other people and all of the offshoots and things that we not even necessarily associated with, but other people have a lot of platforms and things like that, just because
Mm.
we do what we do. And a lot of people, they don't pay attention to a lot of the nurturing and the things that we do behind the scenes in
Yeah.
order to in order to ensure a lot of people are successful. Even me, right before we ever completely started the Lapeef Network, I was already cooking for years, and I had already, created a platform to where I had over 50,000 subscribers way before we ever even started talking about a network. You know what I'm saying? And then,
Mm.
you know, it, but it comes from a nurturing perspective, because you have to see the vision in somebody and believe in them, and then me and JR, we came together and we made sure that we created this phenomenal thing, which he had already created the name and the brand. But then I'm like, yo, let me come in and turn it up. And then, I can do this. And then we need to transition this from Facebook over to YouTube, so on and so forth. And it just became a brotherhood, which we had never even met each other before.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? But we kicked it. We was just on some real talking, having a good conversation. And then I was just pouring into him. I'm like, yo, listen, from a business perspective, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to look at things. We wasn't talking about no network. We was just talking about real life stuff. You know what I'm saying? And we connected on some other type of stuff. But again, that brotherhood that comes from that fatherly perspective, that comes from pouring into other people unselfishly. And most times it does not come with any kind of financial reward behind it.
That's a fact. And I think that more people need to think in that regard, right? If you help people, it's going to come back.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily it might come back financially, right? But the more you give, the more you're going to get later on, and you don't know when that's going to come,
That's
because
true.
people enjoy helping other people, right? I mean, like, if somebody helped you, if somebody helped me, like JR helped me, like,
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to trying to, for example, maybe give him a topic or provide him encouragement or
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. Like, if I'm getting poured into, or if you're getting poured into and you're not giving back, then that's a problem.
Yeah. I
You know,
agree.
that's a problem. And so, from a fatherly perspective, I know for me, I'm always thinking with the end in mind. Like I remember what's his guy name? Kirk Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about at this particular conference that we was at that you should think about the end in mind, meaning that you're raising somebody's husband and somebody's wife.
True.
And if you think with the end in mind, then you bring it back, you should have a different perspective of how you raise your kid,
Yeah,
right?
that's true. I think it's difficult to maintain though.
That may be true.
I think that what usually has to happen, and which I found to be a lot more effective than that, is to start with the end in mind and then reverse engineer it to where you create milestones along the way. So I'll give you an example, right? When we were in school, let's just say high school, you want to graduate and you want to get your diploma, whatever, and whatever, go on, live your life, whether you go to college or not. But in order for you to be able to stay on track and to stay focused on the things that's in front of you, they break everything down into milestones. And they say, okay, well, you're going to be a freshman, a sophomore, junior, senior. And then they break it into further milestones. And they say, okay, the first semester, second semester, this is the card marking, so on and so forth, right? But what that allows for you to do is to work towards that particular milestone instead of having to focus on the big picture. And we see people get segmented once they become adults because they do this. Once they become an adult, they say, I want to be successful. What does that mean? What is success? Right? Is it $1 million? Is it $2 million? Is it being an engineer? Is it being a content creator? Is it being famous? What does success look like? They have no true vision for what this is supposed to be. So they can't break it down into milestones because they don't know what they don't know. Right. And even if you're in college, if you want to become a doctor, if you want to become a lawyer, if you want to just graduate and get your bachelor's degree, you have a basic foundation of what that end in mind is, but you still need to break it down into milestones. You're a freshman, you're a sophomore, a junior, you want to, apply to graduate school, so on and so forth. But that keeps you on track to being successful because most people can't focus on that pie in the sky and then continue to be successful as a result of it. So I've always found that breaking it down into milestones after you've already identified that far off vision, because first of all, most people have a very difficult time even breaking down exactly what success looks like for them in the first place. And I ask people this all the time. I say, okay, so what does success look like for you? What do you want for your wife? What do you want for your kids? What school do you want them to go to? What kind of car do you want to drive? All of these different things. And they have a very difficult time describing that because they've never had a vision for what success looks like. They've always just said, I want to be rich. I want to be successful. I want to level up and all this other type of stuff. But when I can get that out of them and then break that down into milestones and I have them actually paying attention to where they can go and what they can do and where they need to go and so on and so forth, I find them to be 10 times more successful than people that just have this pie in the sky mentality and just reading a bunch of books and don't have any kind of blueprint on what success looks like.
That's so good, bro. Like, yes, you want to have the goal, right? But then you also want to have these milestones to get to the goal. One of the reasons why is because there's an exhaustion that will take place when you're trying to reach the goal. And so if you can get to the point of where you have these, that you're able to reach a milestone, then it re-energizes you. Like for me, I would say when I was getting my doctorate degree, right? And I was so exhausted at times that sometimes I had to take a semester off, right? But there was these milestones, even in man, that's a really good point. They would say, okay, you need to write chapter 1. Okay. And then we're going to talk about chapter 1, right? That was successful. Then, okay, we need you to write 2 and 3. And then we're going to talk about that. So yes, reaching those milestones gives you that energy to continue to push towards that ultimate goal, whatever that goal is. And everybody's different. And I would add on, don't compare your success to somebody else's.
I don't know, humble dad.
Okay, tell me, bro.
Okay, so let me break down the milestone thing, right? So just to reinforce that, I would even take it from a content creator's perspective, right? When I first got on YouTube, the goal was just to get to 100 subscribers.
Okay.
And then I just wanted 2, and then I wanted 5, and then 1,000. But I never was seeking out, okay, you know what? I got to get 1 million subscribers because I don't have any blueprint for that, right? I don't have any vision for what that looks like because it's just so far off. It just seems so unrealistic, right? But once you start getting that ball rolling and then you hit that 1,000 and then you hit that 5,000 and then you hit that 10,000 and then you hit 40 and then 80 or whatever it is, right? It's a completely different game because you're working towards that thing that's immediately in front of you instead of working towards the million, which makes it much more likely for you to get to that million
Yeah.
if you ever get to that million, right? But then um taking a comparison thing, right? I don't think that comparison is healthy when you're using it as when people use it as an opportunity to be jealous or hate,
Yeah.
right?
That's what I
I
meant.
think it can, and I think that's what you're talking about, right? And that's why I
Yeah.
wanted to add the extra context. I think that comparison is healthy when you're trying to gauge where you at and how much further you can go.
Facts.
Because I tell people to compare themselves to me simply because, and I say this all the time, I'm a C student, and I say, yo, listen,
That's only from books, though, bro.
well, no, look, nope, that's from life, right? Because I'm a
Okay.
lifetime C student,
Okay.
and that I'm very, very average, just in
Okay.
a general sense, right?
Okay.
Like school wise, um, height, I'm 5'7", but for some reason, every single place that I show up in, I can control the room.
Okay.
I can control every single room that I walk into, everyone, right? Like
Yeah.
in every aspect of my life, I'm not supposed to be successful. I'm not supposed to be great. I'm not running the 40-yard dash faster than anybody else, right? Everything that I've gotten has come as a result of effort. And so if somebody is comparing themselves to me, they should be very much more motivated to be more successful than me because they're more than likely having more talent than I have, right? And they have so many different things that they can lean into, which then I take away all of your excuses and I say, yo, well, so it's no reason you shouldn't be greater than me or you shouldn't be able to propel yourself to be more successful than me because everything that I have, I had to work extra hard in order to get it, which is why I then say people are running in the victim Olympics because they make excuses as to why they can't do it. I don't believe in excuses. The only thing I believe in is successes.
I see
And
what you.
so I take away that by having people compare themselves to me to say, yo, if you let this sucker named Anton Daniels beat you, bro, what does that look like? It's no reason why they cannot beat me, why they cannot be more successful than me. And so it's kind of a tool that I use in order to motivate people to help them to understand, which is why I say I live my life like an open book, because it's not about being more talented. It's all about work ethic. It's all about your mindset. It's all about how you go about treating people. It's all about how you utilize your time more effectively. That's the thing that's going to determine whether or not you're successful, not any other thing.
That's a fact. That's good stuff. I appreciate you providing the context to that. And so let me bring it back to the when about fatherhood. I enjoyed the conversation about when you do you remember the first time that your wife told you that y'all was pregnant?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so walk me through that particular moment for you. What was
Well,
the
the interesting thing about it is that I remember getting her pregnant, and the time that I got her pregnant, that day we was actually mad at each other.
so y'all
As
had angry.
crazy as that sound. Um, I remember when she told me that she was pregnant, in which she silently went and took a test. Um, and then she came back and she just showed me the thing, right? And then I remember us going to the hospital and find because I wanted a girl, right? I always wanted
Okay.
to be a girl dad. And then we found out it was a girl, and it was probably one of the most exciting times of my life because then I had somebody else that was truly, truly dependent on me. Because even an adult, let's just say a wife, like they still have the capability to go out and get a job and things like that, right?
Somebody trying to troll you, bro. I think she said not even with books where you. I guess you was.
um, but yeah, that's Rita. That's my wife. Shout out to Rita.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
What's up,
that's
Rita?
Rita, my wife. Of course, she gonna be watching, right? She always watching.
That's what's up.
But yeah, even with adults, like they can go out and they can get jobs and stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
But with children, you completely have control over whatever their fate is and how they're going to turn out. And so I've always been motivated to make sure that my daughter is going to get every single opportunity to be great. And then once she becomes an adult, she's her own person. But I'm gonna give her every tool that she need in order to be successful because that's largely what was given to me. And I'm gonna
Yeah.
give you something else, humble dad. I believe that you play a father figure role over the woman that you with.
Okay, here we go.
I do.
Listen,
I,
I'm not disagreeing at all.
I
I'm,
think that
I'm rocking with you.
I think that women you know, the women that thrive the most ultimately are under a father figure their entire life, right?
Hmm.
When you when the father walks the woman down the aisle and he gives her over into her husband,
Yeah.
right? He's literally passing on responsibility to the husband to have that, fatherly figure lording over. They call you a groom for a
Covering.
reason,
Covering.
right? Yeah, you're still grooming her. You're still giving her teachings. You're still giving her direction. You're still giving her protection. All of that is literally the the blueprint of what a father is, right? And so, to a larger extent, women are similar to children if they find themselves in a position to be able to play in that role. And that the best thing from them, the thing that's great about women and their superpower is their femininity, it's their humility, it's their ability to be able to talk to people a certain type of way,
The
get in certain
nurturing.
rooms and all. Yeah. And so if you remove the requirement for them to have to go out and compete for resources in the same way that men do, then you then put them in a position to where they can really leverage their real tools and their real talents so that they can then become the great ones. In order to do that, they have to be under somebody's covering that allows for them to do that, right? And so I think that you still play a fatherly role and you play a father figure role in whoever's life you in at that time if you are the man that you're supposed to be.
That's what's up. So how are you being able to do that for your daughter? Like what are some examples that you may be able to share that helps you prepare her to be that type of woman?
Well, the biggest example that you give is the way that you treat her mother.
That's a fact.
The biggest way that you impact a daughter is not what you buy her, it's not all of that other kind of crap. That's just extra. The biggest way that you can show a woman or groom your daughter into being what it is that she needs to be is to show her how you treat her mother. And I am very much, and I say this on a regular basis, the man that I would want my daughter to marry,
Mm.
right? Because young girls often seek men that are similar to their fathers. And so as a result, I'm very, very much dedicated to ensuring that and people will see it and they say, "Oh man, Anton, I don't understand how you was able you picked a unicorn." Well, I mean, and let's just be real and read it on mine because we've talked about it online before. Rita didn't grow up with a father in her life.
Mm.
Rita, she grew up under a single mother in a single parent household, and she had to go into work, and she was working since she was 15, and all of this other type of stuff. All of these supposed red flags that men identify is all of the things that Rita was a part of. She was a tomboy. She was all of that, right? But when she came up under my covering, I had the option to determine if she was going to be for the streets or if I was going to make her my wife, right? And so, I've always taken an approach to make sure that she's treated like gold. I
Mm.
taught her how to drive. She was catching a bus every day. Made sure that she got her first car. Right? I've taught her literally everything that she know. That fatherly role that her father wasn't was the thing that I did for her when I came into her life, in addition to the love and the admiration and all of that other type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm the person that ensured that she was successful. I made sure that her student loans was taken care of. She didn't have to operate under debt. My wife hasn't worked in over 15 years for another employer. She's worked for me.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So the way that I treat her mother, my daughter's mother, is literally the way that my daughter starts operating in my household.
Mm.
And so all she's doing is gleaning from the lessons that she see every day. It's not about what you say, it's about what they pay attention to and how you perform.
That's a fact. I totally agree. When I was married, that's one of the main things that I was making sure that I did was and for those that are new that's watching, I lost my wife about a year ago.
Yeah,
And so
my condolences, my friend.
I appreciate that. And so one of the things that was majorly important to me is how I treated her in front of our kids,
Yeah.
right? Because I know that they were paying attention. Matter of fact, they let me know that they
Mm.
were paying attention, right? And it even still to this day, my oldest daughter, she would let me know. She would remember conversations that me and her mom had.
Mm.
And then I had a conversation with her. I had let her watch. I think it may have been a king, not a king. I don't know if it was a king talk or a let's talk conversation.
Mhm.
And yeah, it had to be a let's talk conversation. I think it was one of the playbacks, and a woman was describing something. and I was having her watch it, and I said, "What do you think about that?" She said, "Well, no, I wouldn't want no dude like that, right? I wouldn't want no dude like that." I said, "Okay, what type of dude would you want?" And she
Yeah.
said, "I want somebody like you, Dad." I was
There
like,
you
"Oh,
go.
you see what I'm saying?" So,
Yep.
and I think also to have those type of conversations as along with watching, you know what I mean, treating the mother the mother of your children correctly will also allow the daughter and the sons to operate in the roles that they're destined to fulfill. So
Yeah.
yeah, for
That's
sure.
pretty
So
awesome, man. You're a pretty good dude.
I appreciate that, man. I'm trying, bro. I'm trying. Say somebody had a question for you. Said,
Okay.
how do you balance giving a child tools they need slash spoil them? It said, I find this a thin line, especially when you're blessed with the means.
I think that you got to treat boys and girls different.
Uh
I
oh,
don't think that you're
no
supposed to have.
equality, huh? No
No,
equality.
I think that is completely different. I think that it's okay to spoil your daughter. It's not okay to spoil your son.
Elaborate.
I think that if you spoil your son, you basically creating a daughter. Like you're creating a dude that will not understand what it takes to be a man. I think that men are supposed to suffer. Men have to go through things in order to really become the men that they're supposed to be. They have to have somewhat of a rite of passage, right?
Okay.
They have,
Okay.
because think about it. When they grow up and they have a family, nobody is going to look at the wife and say, "Hey, why did y'all lose your house?"
That's a fact.
Nobody is going to look at the woman and say, "Hey, why is your family in disarray?" Le- Responsibility goes up, not down. Whenever you see a corporate entity or you see a company that's going out of business, nobody goes to the workers and say, "Hey, why wasn't y'all putting those parts together the right way?" Or the CEO, when they say, "What the heck is going on with the company?" And when heads is rolling, he gonna be on the outs, and the board is gonna be like, "We need to get another CEO." I seen that happen with Ford Motor Company with Mark Fields. And then they moved on from Jim Farley. And when Mark Fields wasn't meeting the expectation, he wasn't in there but a hot second. And they was, "You got to get out of here, homie. I don't care how long you've been at the company. Once you reach the top of that pyramid, responsibility goes up, not down, right?" And so you
Yeah.
have to teach men how to be men by allowing them to go through the things. And when I cringe a lot of times when I see guys say, "Well, I'm working so that I can give everything over to my kids. Or I'm working so I can get everything over to my son." Because then you're giving them no sense of responsibility. You're giving them no reason for them to be able to grow, right? 80% of millionaires are new millionaires.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because the majority of the ones that are already millionaires are fumbling the bag because they don't know what it takes to get there. They have no sense of appreciation. They have a sense of entitlement, though. And so they feel like you owe them something or they're leaning on you in order to take care of them. And that's a female trait. That's not a man trait. And so you got to let them grow into who they are by allowing them to be able to go through the lessons instead of buying them the car. Show them how they can get a job and buy their own car. I I'll tell you this one story. Um, I've always bought my own cars, and my first car was an '86 Buick Regal. I love that car, right? I saved for it. Me and Rita used to go to the drive-in in it. I've
The
had that car for a
drive-in.
long time, right? Yeah,
Yes,
we went to the drive,
sir.
right? And it was an '86 Buick Regal, and I had bought a second car, and the second car that I bought was a Mercury Sable, right? And it was brand new off the lot and everything. So I had both cars, and I was working really hard. I was working 16 hours a day, and I bought Rita a car. We was about to get married and everything like that. And then we got married, and then it was another guy. It was a cousin of mine, right? And she had got married to a guy, and the guy was kind of a dusty, and it was like, "Oh, you need a car to get back and forth to work." I said, Anton, can you please? My cousin came to me and said, "Anton, can you please give him a car? Can you please give him your old car? Give him my old car." So I was really reluctant because that was my baby. That was my first car. I gave him my car, right? And he tore it up. I mean, it was a piece of POS by the time he got done with it. I mean, like he never took care of it. He never appreciated it. And I mean, he's still a dusty to this day, but he's never had to actually earn anything, and everything has already been supplemented because he basically, came into a family that already was, up there. And so he leaned on the idea that I can depend on my father-in-law or whatever, so on and so forth. But he's never had to go through the things that it took in order to prove yourself as a man. You see
Mm.
what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
For me, it was different. And I think that girls should be treated different. They still need to have a level of discipline, and you still need to give them responsibility and chores, and you need to have them filled in controlled environments also. But I think that boys have to go through a certain level of growing that women or girls are they shouldn't be subjected to.
I can see what you're saying because I have two and two. I have two boys. I have two girls.
Mm,
And you met the lady that I'm rocking with right now, right? And she
mm.
tells me, she's like,
Yeah, she's beautiful,
I
awesome,
appreciate,
sweet spirited. I love that girl.
I appreciate that. She said, man, you treat your kids different. I said, well, she said you treat your boys different than you treat your girls, you
You're
know.
supposed to.
And I'm saying, listen, it's so natural to me, right? Like, listen, I hem my sons up, bro. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, for real.
listen, I will hem them up. You know what I'm saying? We have these really tough conversations, and my voice is what it is, right? When my daughters, when I'm talking to them, I'm like, I'm talking to them in a way that I would want their husband to talk to them,
Hmm.
right? So I'm not trying to be really aggressive in my tone, right? I mean, that may happen maybe once, but that's because you just not listening at all no more. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we got to get to a different level, right?
Yep.
And so, yes, I totally agree that you got to treat them differently because they're going to be treated differently.
They are. And there isn't going to be no mercy for them. Right? The life and I don't want it to be, because the thing about it is that, see, people look at me and they'll say, Anton, you get all of the praise and you get the accolades, you get the cars or whatever. And that's because I would have got all of the negativity and the backlash on the other end of it if I wasn't there. And I got it before in my life, right?
Yeah.
People didn't care if it was a 2008 recession. They didn't care nothing about that. When I went broke and all of that, and people was like, "Hey, man, you a piece of shit."
Mm,
Real talk.
wow.
Like,
Wow.
they didn't care about none of that. The only thing that they cared about was the results. And I
Yeah.
understood that, right? And I was willing to endure long enough. Thankfully, I never I operated from a perspective that I was broke, right? Because I still had my
Mm,
portfolio, I still had my 401ks. I never took anything out of it. And so I never touched that stuff. I just continued to act like I was poor. So I was willing to give up the cars. I was willing to give up all of that. I was willing to move back in my mom's basement. But at the same time, I was married with a newborn kid. You know what I'm saying? So going broke, nobody cared about if everybody was broke. You still broke. You know what I'm saying? And so the responsibility went up. And when everybody was saying, nah, Anton, you need to move this way, I said, nah, Rita, we're going to move this way because this is the way that we're going to be super successful and we'll never be broke again. And I did exactly that. But that came from having a strong mindset and a conviction of, I know what it takes in order to be a man, and I'm willing to go all the way down in order to go up. And I'm going to lead my family, and I'm not going to worry about what anybody is saying about me because I know what's best for my family. But it takes being a man in order to do that. And a lot of these guys don't have that strong conviction in their heart for them to be able to rock out that way. And it shows. It shows every single day.
so how do we? I mean, it's only. I mean, my daughter's crying now. All of a sudden, because when I get on, it just never fails. When I'm doing an interview, she always wants to come in, and the big sister is trying to hold her down. Right?
Humble dad, if you don't mind me asking, how old are your kids?
Oh yeah, for sure. They're 13. My oldest is 13. Joshua's 11. Boy is 11. And then Ethan's 8. And then I have a 4-year old.
I
That
don't know
acts
how
like,
you do it, humble dad. I'm not built for it.
hey, it's about the grace of God,
I'm
honestly.
not built for it, bro. I'm not. One and done.
Yeah.
That's it. I had my daughter. We anticipated not even having kids.
We did too.
And I had one, and I said, you know what? And I'm going to put everything I have into her. And I went and got a vasectomy.
Wow. That's what, hey,
Yeah.
listen, to each his own, bruh. Listen, for me, um, the situation was that we thought we wasn't gonna have kids.
Mm.
Um, you know, we had lost 3
Mm.
before we had our first, right? And so and Jen was only operating, and she would tell people this. She was only operating on one fallopian tube.
Wow.
You see, and so she
Phew.
So it was under the the mindset of like, if I can have them, I'm gonna have them.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, that's cool. And then we only planned on, like, we had marriage counseling. They said, how many you want? I was like, well, I could do one. You know what I'm saying? I could do one. She said, I want three. I said, we ain't talk about that. So we just talk about this in marriage. Okay.
Yeah.
And so eventually when that situation happened, I was like, I'm gonna just have as many as God want me to have.
Okay.
And I just feel like he'll provide for me for that to be
Yeah.
the thing, right? And so that's what it was. I thought we was gonna have two, and then didn't plan for 3 and 4.
I was one and done. I honestly, I was okay with having one, but
Yeah,
I was okay with also not having any. I was okay with that. I've
yeah,
never believed that my legacy was going to be defined through my kids.
yeah. I wasn't even thinking like that, right? I was
Mhm.
just thinking, I'm gonna have as many as I can, since seeing as though we was having a hard time having them at all,
Yeah.
right? And so yeah, and they some dope people, man. Like
That's
real
awesome,
talk.
bro.
Like they some dope people, just in general, right?
Mhm.
So, and with me saying that, I want to ask, what do you see in your daughter that is also in you?
Oh man, she got my personality. She got my competitive spirit. She's ranked number one in the entire country in Taekwondo. Um, yep. She got literally, she got hundreds of gold medals, bro.
Number one
It's
in the United States.
insane, bro. It's insane. Like she just came back from nationals, and I think that was in Daytona Beach.
Wow.
Yeah, she got a competitive spirit. I mean, she got a spirit like that's insane. But she's starting to mellow out more, and to which like she's 14, she's going into high school, and so now she's more into like girly stuff. It's crazy. And now this is where her mom is taking over a little bit more because um they buying dresses and planning makeup and all of this other type of stuff, but her personality is the exact same. Like she don't
Wow.
believe in excuses. She don't believe in running in the victim Olympics. She don't believe in none of that. Like, even her sentiment and the fact that how she moves around people is the exact same as me.
Mm,
Exactly the same.
that's what's up, man.
She
I
she a girl dad. I mean,
Chill girl there.
I'm a
You're
girl
a girl
dad, but
there. Yeah,
she's very much like connected to me and her father.
that's what's up. I would say m- they all have a piece of me in some regard, obviously. My 13-year-old, I would say she has the characteristics of leadership,
Mm.
even though that seems like a masculine trait, right? But she's learning
Nah,
how to.
not really. I don't
Okay,
think that it is.
that's a bit. Well, you know how the manosphere would say, right?
I don't even subject myself to that to what honestly, humble dad. I don't even know how I got grouped into that. Maybe it's just from the people that I associate with or whatever.
Probably,
But I
yeah.
let people do the grouping. JR is
Okay,
very much like that
that's
too, though.
fair. That's fair.
JR
That's
is
fair.
like that too. He don't care about what people say. He just can't. We just cook.
Right. So cool. So then that's enough said then. Well, she has a leadership quality. So for example, in the house here, um, she's now taking on the role of cooking,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so she gets the
Mm.
schedule, and I pay her, right? And so she makes out a list of what's gonna be made, and she also puts in we have Sam's Club, and so she puts in the groceries that needs to be purchased.
That's pretty impressive.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And so she does that. Then Joshua, he's an athlete, which is what I was, still
Okay.
am. And then Ethan, he is the what's the he's very what's the word I'm looking for? He exaggerates a lot. Like I'm pretty, like I mean I'm pretty reserved when I'm around people, but like at the house, bro, like I'm a goofy, silly dude,
Yeah. I mean,
and
but you're pretty cool like that in person. So
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But I'm more reserved in person than like when I get to be with my kids.
yeah.
Like I'm the goofy dude. I do the freestyling. You know what I'm saying? I rap for them. I got little songs that I sing to
Uh,
them. And
that's
then
really
my
funny.
youngest, she don't listen to nobody. She got
She'll
she.
grow out of it.
Hey, I hope so.
She'll
The
grow out of it. I wouldn't worry
Yeah,
about
and so like she's that type of young
it.
lady where she knows what it is that she wants,
Mm,
and that's what she tries to go get. So that's for me. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So this has been good, bro. We got about 10 more minutes, bro. I'm gonna get into these questions.
Dang,
You
seems
ready?
like time be going by so fast.
Hey, listen, when you having fun, bro, or you at least talking about something of importance,
Yeah,
what happens?
I agree.
I, yeah, so I got a couple questions. I'm gonna give you an opportunity to give me a number between 30 and 44.
Okay. Just any number?
Yeah, we're gonna give you gonna give me three numbers. We're gonna start with the first one. I'm asking, and then you're gonna answer it how you want to.
All right, let me give me 44.
Is there anything that you wish you had asked your parents but haven't or didn't?
No. I was very, very close with my parents. One of the things that was really cool about me and my father before he died is that we spent an extraordinary amount of time. He helped me build my first restaurant. So we were like together probably like 10 hours every single day. And so there was nothing that was left on the table that we hadn't talked about or we hadn't had a conversation about. And when he passed away, it's funny because at funerals, a lot of people be like all sad and stuff like that, and they be regretful. Oh, I should have said this, whatever. And I wasn't like that. I was like, yo, I said everything. I appreciated him. I asked every question. He taught me everything that he knew about, electrical engineering. You know what I'm saying? To being a man, to every single thing that it takes in order to be successful. He gave me everything he had. He left it all out on the floor. So nope, it's not one thing. Not
That's
one thing.
dope. And just to add to that, men as fathers, that time element with your kids, man, that right there is more precious than any gift. That is
Yeah.
the gift that needs to be given.
Nope, not one thing.
That's what's up. Give me another number, sir.
43.
What has been your favorite age so far and why?
40. I turned 40 this year, and my life is more incredible than it's ever been. A lot of people they lean back into yesteryear and they say, "Yo, I wish I was 20 again," or when I was this age, I did that, and they got nostalgia. And I was telling Rita literally 2 days ago, I said, I never want to be 20 again. I never want to be 30 again. And it's not that it wasn't good times, or it's not that I didn't have great things that happened at that particular time. But I'm gonna be honest with you, every single year is much more incredible than the year before. I mean, I have much greater experiences. I have a greater network of people that continues to grow. I make more money. Every year over the last, I would say 15 years, I've made more money than I had the year before. I have better experiences with my daughter. I get to provide for more people. I get to see more things. Like, I've built more businesses. I've done greater things than I've ever done before. Like, honestly, I'm looking forward to 41. I can't wait to get 41. Like, 40 has been the best year of my life.
That's dope. That's dope. Last question. What you got? What number you got?
42.
Okay, I see what
Has
you're doing.
anybody done this? Went 40, 43?
Nobody has done this before, bro. Nobody, you the first for sure. All right, let's see. 42. What is the best advice your dad ever gave you?
Let's see. The best advice that my dad ever gave you. Um, don't give a fuck like I did. Don't give a fuck like I did. Because a lot of what he did, as great as he was, a lot of the things that he didn't do, or the things that he did do, was all based off of being impacted by or influenced by the things that was going on around him.
Mm,
So, like, for example, I grew up in a church, right?
yeah.
And a lot of what was happening, or a lot of what's happened in the church, was influenced by what other people's perspectives were. And so he would have a vision for his life or whatever, but he was always making a sacrifice and foregoing what his purpose was in order to ensure that he poured into other people.
Mm,
And so a lot of times he was influenced, or, he had to make a decision based off of, how everybody else was going to be impacted. But later on in life, I was the only person that was ensuring that he was taken care of. Right. When I built that first restaurant, I didn't even build it for me. It wasn't for me. It was for him.
Mm.
It was his dream.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? And so that's why I was still in corporate America and all of these other things. I had my own businesses. And so that was my reward to him. And I was making sure that he was taken care of because I was the person that ensured that his back taxes got paid. And my mom was taken care of. My mom is very much taken care of by me today. Right. Mm-hmm. But he always told me, he was like, Anton, chart your path and be very, very, very steadfast in what you know is the right thing to do for you. Do not deviate. Don't waver. Don't do things based off of being influenced by most people, because most people is average and the rest of them is poor. There's very few people at the top. And he said, in order to get to the top, you're going to have to do something that's extraordinary, that most people are unwilling to do. And if you're going to be swayed by what the majority of the people are saying, then you're going to be average just like them. Yeah. And I've always believed that. I've always taken it to heart. And even when I say some of the most controversial things, and I'll say, the things that we celebrate most in Black culture is trash, and I'll get all of the black backlash, I sleep good at night. I sleep baby, because I'm fucking right. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the thing that has propelled me to be successful, is that I don't care what everybody thinks. Everybody said, Anton, go into business because all of the black people is in that classroom. But I went into software engineering and I was the only black person in there and I felt comfortable. Yeah. Everybody said, keep it real. And I said, nah, I'm a move a little bit differently. Everybody, the majority of the people say most people get divorced. And I said, I'm gonna be together forever. And so I'm very much the opposite of what average is. And that's the thing that's going to propel me to be successful. And that's the best advice, I believe, some of the best advice that he's ever given me.
That's dope, man. I appreciate you elaborating on that.
Absolutely.
I think that that's the similarity that me and you definitely have, is that like when I was in college, they would call me the exception. Right? Because I didn't think like nobody. I would do whatever it is that I felt like I needed to be done. You know what I'm saying? I rock whatever I wanted to wear. Like even in 8th grade, you know what I'm saying? I had hammer pants, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I'm Dad. You see how I dress? When I walked into Atlanta, I was dressed like Carlton Banks, and it was like, Anton, you dress so different. I'm like, I do what I want to do. When I went over into Houston, I had on my Detroit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm confident because I know I'm fresh. I know I'm fly. You know what I'm saying? And that's just who I am. I don't care, man. As a matter of fact, I think that that's what's going to separate me and make me even more awesome, because not only am I going to stand out, but you're going to recognize that I'm fresh.
Hey, that's what I was thinking. Listen, I wanted to go with a more orange suit. My lady was like, nah, don't do it. Don't do that bright.
Yeah.
Come get this tangerine right here.
I am very much my own man. I don't move to the beat of nobody. Now, that does not mean that you shouldn't be open to learning or above reproach, because I will say on the other side of that, there's very few content creators that have been able to have some level of success that is humble enough to even allow people to say stuff to them, even on live streams, and then be like, you know what, you right, or apologize or whatever like that. So, I think that that's another thing that makes people, or make me unique. But I don't worry. I sleep good at night. I don't care about what nobody say about nothing. The only thing I care about is finding the truth in it and figuring out how we can leverage that and use that in order to continue to be successful.
That's what's up. Got 2 last questions. The second to last question is, which TV dad would you say that you have characteristics or similarities to?
Uncle Phil.
Why?
Because he was successful and he was more dedicated to ensuring everybody else was successful around him and giving those hard lessons. And he was willing to take in some of his bad nephews in order to ensure that they got the lessons that they needed in addition to that.
That's a bet. All y'all that are watching, make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel. Where can they find you, Anton? I got
AntonDaniels.com. All of my information is on there. I'm on everything. YouTube, Millionaire Morning Show with Anton Daniels, Fight Club, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of that. I'm on there.
That's a bet. Last question is, what would you like for your daughter to say about you when you leave, or you know, your last days on earth? What would you like for her to say about you?
That he left it all out on the floor. That he died without leaving anything within himself, and he didn't take anything with him to the grave, but he made sure that he left everything out on the floor. I want to die empty.
Mm,
Like, I don't want to die with information. Information that dies with me is a waste. I
mm.
want to give everything that I possibly can to people. I want to ensure that every piece of information and every portion of me is a reflection of the things that I advocated for, and that I truly lived what I believed. I lived it first before I ever told anybody or I gave anybody information on how they should do it differently.
That's a bet. Well, this has been a dope interview, man. I appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Anytime, humble dad. You know I'm here.
That's a bet. And you have the last words. What you want to say to the people?
Make sure you subscribe to Humble Dad. Hit a like for the YouTube algorithm on your way out the door. Make sure you subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and then show them some love by making sure that you big this up and share this whole platform with the whole world, because Humble Dad is dope. That's my final words.
I appreciate it, bro. Until
Yeah,
next time, man. We out here.
out of there.
Deuces.